live, so we'll see what's happening. Thank you. We are live streaming, and we'll go over here and take a peek. How's it going, everybody? Okay, so welcome everybody. Hooray, we're here. It says we're streaming. Hopefully you can see us and hear us, and we're back. Akasha here, and we're here with a beautiful guest. You're going to be super excited that you are here with us today. And this series is really unfolding so beautifully because, kind of like the dolphins, when you're with them, we talk a lot about how they raise your frequency, how they bring you to joy, how they can recalibrate you, and all of these other things. However, the really cool thing is kind of the synchronicities that come to play and the way that the energies weave together that open doors just for you. And so it was like, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I go, I don't have time to find speakers. You got to do this, you got to do this. And I thought, well, I could just throw it up there. And if I'm the speaker every time, I'm the speaker every time. And, and then it was just very slowly, bing, 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 all the way to Kate Celisti, who I hope you will watch. We did the other day, who was 30 years ago. We met on our spiritual path through Linda Tellington Jones, met one of our most important mentors, and just got to talk about things that I'd forgotten about, that I even know on my healing journey, doing frequency work that long ago. So I worked with Shelley, and Kate was the psychic that verified the work she was bringing in, and she mapped the cat, dog, and horse energy centers. They don't call them chakras. And then she created a whole vibrational, instead of radionics, which is frequencies, she created a whole medicine, just frequencies for cats, dogs, and horses. And it was so groundbreaking. And I got to study with her and live with her and work on healing people all over the world through frequency healing. And it was phenomenal. And I got to read case studies from her mentor, who was a British woman who went to India and opened free clinics and only used radionic machines to make all of the remedies, and healed people from gangrene all the way up their leg to stuff you've never could imagine. And I knew then that frequency was the key to everything. And once we understood that and we kept going underneath that, then we're going to understand. And now we're waking up to that. So, ooh, yay. Yeah, it's so much fun to sort of start to explore your own journey, at some point. Yes. And be like, oh yeah, that's right, I did that. Oh, I did that too. It was so cool. So, okay, so we're going to dive in, and I'm going to share a little bit about Anne and find the correct thing here. So one thing that yet, you're jumping the gun. There we go. One thing that is really exciting is that we're free again and we can roam the earth. I think people have kind of forgotten that we were locked down. And I don't know about you, Anne, because Anne's been leading retreats for a very long time. But first 6 months of the pandemic, I constantly received messages from people saying, oh my gosh, going to your retreat was on my bucket list. I wish I had done it, right? Or I can't imagine, I wish I could do this, or as soon as I can do this, I'll do that. And I think that we've become a little pacified now. Everybody wanted to break free. There was some revenge travel that going on. And now people are buying into the fear, buying into that idea that they should wait and not go. And I feel like experience is the most powerful thing you could possibly do, right? Yep. There isn't anything else when you take yourself out of your ordinary world and you're not worried about, the dishes and answering the phone when you go somewhere that is shifting your mind starts to grow. You might have to think about where you are because you're not there every day. And what does that do? That opens you to new possibilities. So this experiences event, we're going to have Donna Kasowitz is coming on next week, and we've got Leora Brunn, and we've got Donnie Hallisey, and I have several other people that are going to join in. So just keep checking in and subscribe here, get notifications, or go over to nanakasha.com and we send you reminders about all that stuff. And we now have 2 more dates that we've added because everybody kept saying, I want to come. but I can't come in March. So I'm sure you've heard this before too, right?
Yep.
So we've got a July retreat and a December retreat. They're all on there. Go over there and check that out. And the really fun part about this has been for me to look back at all of these dolphin pictures. And then Kate came on, and she was the person I went on my first wild dolphin swim with. The
Nice.
communicator I had. And we lived in New Mexico. And the lady who ran them was living in the desert, and the dolphins came to her. Right. And then so she started taking people, very, very unglamorous, by the way. And we went out in the Bahamas and we sat in a boat and we saw no land for a very long time. There you are. And then for 5 days, and we would wait and jump in. And she was invited to be sort of like the guest on the tour. And that's why I knew about it and went. So when you went, she gave you a private animal communication session with the dolphins in the boat when they weren't there. And she channeled other messages, and it was part of the whole experience. It was really, really fun. Yeah. So, Anne, if you've been following around the dolphin circuit lately, wasn't that fun on Sunday? I was really almost
super
surprised
fun.
How really great that was.
Really I was, normally I was just talking to Joan of Angels, who organized it about an hour or so ago, and I was telling her, normally I come on those things at my hour, right? I just jump on, maybe hear a little bit of the speaker before me, I do my thing, and then I go away. But I decided I wanted to check out, because not everybody I knew really well as speakers. So I thought, I'll just check out some of the first speakers. I never left. I was captivated the entire day. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and so many different aspects that were bringing together information, one more sciencey, right? One more historical, one super cosmic, one, sacred, just all these things. And yet you could see the message and the pattern coming together.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
It was weaving. It was all these different things weaving together a blanket together, something.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So, well, we're going to play with Anne. She just came out with some oracle cards. I need to find out how I can get some of those, by the way. I have this whole shelf is all oracle cards here, and it is missing yours. So
they're right here waiting to come to you.
So the dolphins have been coming in for these calls, and as I go on these other calls, and they're getting pretty sassy as they're coming into the space. Kate, when she was on the other day, brought a message in from the dolphins. And she said, well, let's see if it's going to be the Dolphin Collective or those dolphins or these dolphins. And it was the pod of spotted Atlantean dolphins that her and I swam with. And I was pregnant with my daughter, Jordan, who I didn't know I was pregnant until I got home. And I was, and she later died. So it was very special that they came through and talked to us. It was just amazing.
Yes.
So Anne is really, truly has an utterly fantastic story and life. I remember being riveted the first time I heard you talk about growing up and then doing this movie animal stuff and just like, wow. So she spent her entire life around dolphins and whales and watching orcas while boating and living in the Pacific Northwest and running whale and dolphin wisdom retreats internationally since 2007. She shares the wisdom of the dolphins and whales through transformational retreats in Bimini, I love Bimini, Hawaii, Mexico, French Polynesia, and to spend time with and deepen your spiritual connection with the natural world. That's the key, guys.
Yep.
Unplug from the rat race and get some real life force back again, right?
Right, exactly.
So she's a certified dolphin energy healing practitioner who loves to share the powerful healing insights, wisdom, and messages the dolphins have for her clients. And the dolphins and whales are a powerful presence in her life, bringing peace, confidence, and a strong sense of community and unity. I love unity. And you can find her at whale and dolphin wisdom retreats.com.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for being here. I'm so excited that we get to play again twice in 1 week.
I know, aren't we blessed? Yes, thank you for having me. It's a real honor.
So go in and tell us what the dolphins want to play with. Like, is there some stories or ways of, about who you are, how you came through some of these things, and what messages do they have? Oh, I do want to tell you, I'm trying to find out her name. It's terrible, I forgot. But there was a baby dolphin in a couple baby dolphins. The two mothers had babies at the same time, boy and a girl, and they kept them, together, but separate from everybody else. And as they started to get a little older, they let my group go in with them. And one time we were in there, and I think I was there with Donna, and the little baby girl kept trying to come up and kiss me, but they don't let them do that when they're little, but babies want to imitate their mom.
Right.
So I've been trying to remember her name, because the trainer got so excited, like, you're her first kiss, because they finally just went, it's okay, because she was not going to say no. She'd go like a cat. She'd go around that side. She'd go around this side. I got to. She came through, and I think this podcast I did this the other day, I was channeling a dolphin thing, and then this little mother and baby came down and around, and it was her. And I started to feel the tingles coming out through my lips, like from when that kiss happened.
Right.
And now they're telling me it's a soul kiss, because once you're a part of a pod, you're always a part of a pod.
Right.
And I'd forgotten, but Kate said that's what the pod said to us when we were there. You're now a part of our pod, and you always have been. And so that was such an electric, incredible experience. Baby dolphin, I love her.
I love that. And I love that story. It's an amazing story. As you were talking, what I was thinking about is oftentimes when I'm doing a dolphin energy healing session for a private client, oftentimes they will come in, usually towards the end of the session, and they will come in with their rostrum, and they'll stick it right here on the third eye, and then just blast it, and then just to open this huge opening of the third eye. But you should try that. You should bring that in instead of this kiss.
Yeah.
Ask the trainers to do this.
I did.
Kiss. Oh, you've done it.
But only for me and like Chris and another person. It's so funny that you said that. I'm just so excited, because I've been going through all of my 5 retreats that I did at the Dolphin Center to pull pictures out. So I sent pictures of 8 people kissing dolphins, and the whole email was kissing dolphins, and then look at them and feel it and whatever, and then like, okay, what's another theme? And then I noticed ones where we were allowed to put our hand on their heart and hold them kind of like this, heart to heart this way. And right after those, I was like, oh, I like that one. Let's, and I was thinking about making that, like, they don't really make that a part, even though we do stuff half the day is stuff other people don't do, right? The public doesn't do the playing the ball and being a pod and floating meditation and stuff like that. So, but I saw that heart thing, and I thought, I want to do something around that instead of just let's all hug the dolphin. Let's do it with that heart thing. And then I saw a picture of me kissing, kissing. And then the next one was putting the dolphin right here.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so I started sending that out in the emails in the last 2 days, like,
that's fun.
Dolphins. So that's a trip that you said that. Oh,
that is funny. So clearly I was picking up on that. Another thing that I did, and this was totally spontaneous. I was with Donna in one of our Florida facilities.
Oh yeah.
And there was just her and me and a couple trainers and some dolphins. It was a real quiet, fun time. And we were just allowed to do whatever we wanted with the dolphin. And it was, we're standing on the thing and it's presenting itself to us, but it had its tail. And so what I did is so like the tail's like this. I just put it on my hands. Don't work that way. We'll do it this way. I just put it and laid the tail right on my chest. It was the coolest feeling.
Oh my God.
And the trainer's like, I've never done that before. And Donna was like, I want to try that. I'm like, here, go. Right. So everybody was doing it, but it's almost like
so they're like this and you're like this.
They're like, so I'm standing there and then they're like perpendicular.
Oh, they're
they're floating on the surface. I'm standing, they're floating, right? But their tail is to me. Their head is, and I just pick up the tail and just placed it right here. And it was almost like this beautiful shield of love
I love this.
on my heart. So that's another fun thing that you can do.
Yeah, I'm
with the
writing that
dolphins.
down. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
it's super
Well,
cool.
I used to go do healing with Patty almost
Right.
every Friday for a while. And, so they would bring her in the paraplegic, and then they'd have the dolphin come over. And in the beginning, I just was doing my energy work while they were doing their thing, but I can see energy. So I would watch what it looked like or what it felt like as it went to her. And then they started talking to me and saying that she wants it here or whatever. And that was what was interesting, is they'll bring, but it's always the nostrum, right? They bring it up to the feet or to the head or whatever, different parts. But I love that idea of the tail.
Yeah, and there's something really special about the way you hold it. It's just like this, you're cradling the dolphin's tail. And it's like resting against your chest and your heart. So it's like this direct love connection that you're sending through the entire body of the dolphin. And just that, and it feels like, that, when their skin is touching yours, it's like human skin, it's warm, right? You feel that warmth against your chest. So it's just really magical.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to stay over here with my tail on me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's a super special thing to do. And, the dolphins everybody knows it, but we don't do it very often. We humans are just, as adults, are not in joy enough. We're not in play enough. And when you're with them, it's impossible not to smile or even see a picture or a video, it brings that joy to you. But they often tell my clients, it's like, go out and find some little children to play with. Or go find some puppies or kittens to roll around on the floor with, right? They're so good at just playing and being super silly. And it brings us back into that childlike play that as adults, we rarely, like, when was the last time you rolled around the floor being goofy and silly and laughing, right?
Don't ask me, because I'm not normal. But I know.
Right, no, I know, but for the listeners, it's
for
like
the average person, yeah.
Right. And I love to show this picture when I'm teaching a class on this. I found this beautiful picture of these two guys in like button-down shirts and ties in a truly corporate setting doing the hula hoop. Right? It's like, I dare you to bring something totally silly like that into a place where people are pretty buttoned up, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's what the world needs.
Yeah, so
we
much.
all had, just that alone is incredibly healing. And if you could bring a little joy, a little silliness to the world where it's not normally found, it just raises the vibration of everybody there. And that's what the world needs to heal.
Yeah. It seems so profound to me that I'm, like a lot of people, love dolphins from being a little kid and all that.
Yeah.
But to understand energetically, to understand multidimensionally, that there's layers to creation, that there's vibrational structures, that there's universal laws that bring things together. And yet at a core level, we're multidimensional. Dolphins are multidimensional. And what they've been doing here has not just been like being an animal. They've been raising the frequency in the oceans. They've been raising the frequency in the land. They've been communicating with the crystals. They've been communicating with other stars. And it's not a fantasy anymore. Right? We saw so many people saying, oh, well, they're working with the DNA. And it was like a psychic and someone from, another planet, and then some scientists. And then it's just like, wow, where it looks like the whole world is becoming more polarized, then our clarity of each of us hearing and receiving from the dolphins, what it is we perceive, how we receive it, how we relay it, or translate it, not interpret it, right? Translate it. and is so exciting. And well, you go talk.
No, it's all good. It's beautiful. And it is. It's like things that we started hearing from way out, sources are now being proven in science. Yeah. Right. And that's a really beautiful thing. It's starting to be like, hey, maybe there's something to this. But really, the dolphins and the whales they've been on this planet for 30, 40 million years. We humans, about 250,000 years, about 10,000 as we are now. And so we're the little ones. We're the toddlers on this planet. But the dolphins and whales, yes, we aspire and we learn and we want to be able to shift dimensions at will. But the dolphins and whales do it whenever they want to. They are much more conscious than we little baby humans are as a species. And so the dolphins and the whales are holding space for us. They're like the grandparents who love unconditionally, no matter what mistakes we make, how we bumble along, right?
Exactly.
And trying to figure this thing called life out and have forgotten who we are as a soul, that they're holding the space for us to step into our greatness, to live up to our potential, to open our soul, and to become more conscious. Yeah. And that's a huge gift of service they do for us. And all we have to do, if those of your listeners like, okay, that's great, how do I do that? Just ask them. Just open up. You ask them in your meditation, ask them to come into your dreams. Just ask them for a sign if you're on the right path. I mean, let me tell you a story of how clearly they can give you a sign. So in 2018-19, I was going through a divorce, and no matter how amicable it was, and it was pretty amicable, but it's always painful. There's a lot of grief around divorce, dashed dreams and hopes, and lots of change. And so I was living in Panama at the time, and I was on this one day sitting in the back of a taxi headed home. And for whatever reason, I was just consumed with the grief of the divorce. Now, I also tend to always feel the presence of the dolphins with me and the whales and know that they're there. But in that moment, it was all a grief. And all I could do was fight back the tears to not sob in the back of this taxi, right? And the taxi was stopped at an intersection. And it was a really busy intersection, people walking everywhere and traffic and, lights and horns and buses and everything. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden this city bus goes by, and on the side of the bus was a life-size picture of an orca whale. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh yeah, hi, yes. And I got this wave of calm and peace and could hold it together and felt like I was loved and they were with me and supported. But here's the amazing part. In most places, like if you go to Florida or Mexico or Hawaii, every tourist shop has pictures of dolphins and whales and t-shirts and hats and magnets and, the whole 9 yards, right? Not in Panama. Even though we had lots of humpback whales and lots of dolphins, it took me like years to find one baseball hat with a dolphin on it. They just don't put it, and not on the buses. And orca whales are only seen there about once every 2 years, extremely rarely. So if there's going to be one on the side of a bus, it's going to be a dolphin or a humpback whale. That's what we get. So the chances of there being a bus with an orca whale are like 100% not. And here's the thing. I never saw that bus again. I never saw an orca sticker picture anywhere in Panama again. And nobody I asked had ever seen it. That's a sign.
And that's how, those are one of those really fun synchronicities, messages, right? Openings, intuitive
Yes.
communication.
Right.
And yet there's so many different ways to have it. But what's
Yes.
really fun is when it's you're deep inside of those deeper, lower energies, those
Right.
states.
Yep.
And it's very hard to see and hear a lot of that
Right.
lighter information.
Yes.
So
Yep.
people are like, oh, just be happy, go to joy. And it's like, how far you look on the scale, that's like a million years apart. And
Right.
so, yeah, magic that then tickles you, right? And like you
Yeah.
said, that feeling of it. Well, when I came home from the wild dolphin swim, I painted everything in the nursery as we got ready for Jordan to be born, with dolphins everywhere. But after she
Mhm.
died, then I didn't really want to see a lot of it. And I only had
Right.
one little glass dolphin. It was a mother and a baby that I would carry around with me. And then it was times like you're talking about when I just didn't think I wanted to live,
Right.
that something would
Yeah.
come, and that it felt like a emanation, like a magnetic kind of
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And they are like, wow, their brains are huge. They've got capacity. They don't ever sleep. They have one half sleeping at a time,
Yep.
and they have a capacity to scan you in sonar. and
Right.
and we were channeling through them the other day, and they kept calling it sonar, or something about doing
Mm.
sonar messaging. And I was like, is that a form of communication that we're going to be having,
Mhm.
or a way of doing that? Because I can see some of the things they do energetically with people.
Right. Right.
Um, and it was like, it's because we're developing a higher mind. We're growing our brains too. And that's
Right.
one of their purposes, is to help us be happy, because at a higher state around higher beings,
Yeah.
you keep your vibration up, and then you have more and more that can change, more and more that
Right.
can release, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the stories that really blew your mind through the years of stuff you saw?
Well, one story is I lead a retreat every year to Bimini to swim with those beautiful Atlantic spotted dolphins. And this year I'm going back in June with 2 weeks. I'm super excited. And the very first year I led the retreat, and it was my biggest retreat ever. It's 20 people that I take on that one. And so I was actually in Arizona at a conference that I was running a booth at, and, doing all that. And then this was on a Friday, but on Sunday I was flying out to Bimini to go meet my group. So I was living in Panama. I was still married, and my mother-in-law had been sick on and off. And my mother-in-law and I were like best friends. I loved her dearly. She was an amazing woman. As you know, my ex-husband is indigenous, and from a tribe that still lives out in the jungle, as they have forever. And she just knows everything about medicinal plants, and just this amazing, amazing woman. And she had been sick on and off. We didn't know quite what it was, and it was frustrating. We in and out of the hospital, but it never felt like it was, fatal or anything. Well, I got a text from my brother-in-law that said, my mom left. And I thought, well, where'd she go? Because the other leaving us never passed my mind. It's like, she left us. And I'm like, well, where'd she go? And then he clarified, and I called my husband, and it's like, she passed away. And I was just in such shock. She was such a dear friend. And I'm feeling it as I speak it. So then I had to run my booth and then fly to Bimini and deal and lead a retreat with this loss and shock. So I get there, I get to meet my group, and we get started with the retreat. And I didn't tell anybody except one person who was a dear friend, but I didn't tell anybody else because I didn't want to burden them with what I was going through. It's about them, not me, right? And so I kept it in. We got there on a Sunday. On Tuesday morning was the funeral. And I was on the phone with my husband and I lost it. I just couldn't stop crying. And then at like 10:30, we had to get on the boat. So one of my favorite things about the dolphins is their transparency. They're like, there's no such thing as a secret or lie in the world of dolphins, which is really a powerful thing and kind of scary for us humans, but something really important to aspire to. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to be transparent because I can't hide it on this day. So we get on the boat and I do this teaching about transparency. And so I shared with everybody what was going on for me. And what was beautiful was that by me sharing my grief and shedding some tears, that what I didn't know was there were 2 people in the group who recently had lost loved ones in the last year that had not fully grieved. And so they both came right up to me and were, big hugs, and gave them permission to feel what was coming through. And I talked about diving deep into our emotions and allowing the emotions to express. So on that day was our best dolphin day, no surprise. We saw about 40 dolphins. They literally swam right up to the boat. And usually they come up to the boat and then ride the bow. These guys came right up to the boat and went perpendicular to the boat, like, stop. Okay, we'll get out in the water, no problem. You don't have to tell us twice. So we all slipped into the water. And when I'm leading a retreat, I'm usually the last one because I want to make sure all my guests get in. And then I kind of hung back and just because I'm still feeling it. And I just was really happy to hold space and let everybody have an amazing encounter. And the dolphins took care of absolutely everybody in my group, including the weaker swimmers, and everybody had magical encounters. And then one dolphin came up to me and she looked me in the eye and she started swimming circles around me. And you just you have to spin to keep eye contact with her. So she's got me spinning for like 3-4 turns until I just burst out laughing in my snorkel. And she stopped. She looked at me and it was like, my job here is done. Bring me back to joy, that it was okay. The feeling of sadness was okay, but now it's time to come back to joy. And then off she went. It was a really powerful experience.
It energetically, it looks like unwinding. Did it feel that way to you? Like it was like unraveling this thing that you were still holding, that was still intertwined with you, that acceptance that we can do where we're not losing it, but it doesn't have to be, integrated with us. It is something else. So that's beautiful. Yeah, I know. It's phenomenal. There were so many different messages that come from the dolphins about just play, just let go, just go to that joy level. And we're so conditioned to think that that's wrong or bad or, not being serious and shit like that. And it's just really like when the Dalai Lama comes to your house and says, smile, play, and be joyful. That's the wisdom of the universe, and leaves. Maybe you'll listen, right? That's what we're talking about.
It's exactly what we're talking about. And it doesn't mean, they're not saying deny your emotions, because dolphins grieve. Dolphins and whales, they feel all the emotions fully, and they give themselves permission, as I mentioned earlier, to dive deep into the emotions in the moment they happen. And then I've had that same experience where, again, when I was dealing with the divorce, these giant waves of sadness would come up. And at one point I said, you know what? I'm going to stop work. I'm just going to take, when you work for yourself, you can do that. And I took 3 days off, cleared my calendar, and I took naps. I cried, screamed into the pillow. Everything you got to do. But what was amazing is by giving myself permission to fully feel. Now, no, it's not comfortable, feeling those emotions. I get it. But here's the thing, when we stuff them away, they're always there.
Yeah.
And but they come out in ways that are not so appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes very jarring. But I allowed myself to feel them. But on the afternoon of the second day, it was like coming up for air. It was like all of a sudden that intensity of sadness was gone, and all that was left was joy.
Mhm.
It was beautiful, and it was all a teaching from the dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a teaching from my hypnosis teacher, hypnotherapy teacher, was, that, and I call it now the acceptance process, because if you look at the scale, you go to the state of acceptance, and
Right.
that is your emotional field lets go. It forgives. You don't have
Right.
to work on it. You just,
Yep.
when you transcend, you start to transcend. But it's such really profound wisdom for right now, because we come from a culture of survival, that you just do what you have to do to get through it. You suppress it, you forget it, you drink it away, you talk it away. And to just sit with it takes a lot of courage. And I have an intuition awakening class right now that are diving into their money story, their wealth and worthiness story. And it's some deep, goopy stuff in there.
Right.
And when you sit there, one lady, I think it was 2 weeks, she just said, I don't have anything to update you. I'm just deep in this process. And then today she said, I'm finally released. And she sat in it for like 2 weeks, and some of us I got 2 hours of sleep last night, because just the energy processes and willingness and wanting. But the dolphins come in and they break the energy up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see this, but they, like, if it's heavy, it's like putting a frequency in it that starts to break it up.
Yeah, I can see that in my mind. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's amazing what they can do for us, and that their advice, their guidance, it's always there. So again, all you have to do is ask for it, and they're there.
Yeah. So how many, I've over the years, I've learned of many different dolphins, not just all the different species, but the physical 3D dolphins, and then the dolphins that have come from Pleiades or Sirius, or the golden Atlantean dolphins, or I started saying collective recently. And then my friend Kate said, well, I speak to the collective of whatever the animal species, that's the representative of the consciousness. I go, wow, I have that too. So what kind of different entities or expressions of dolphin have you encountered?
Oh gosh, I've had so many, and like you say, I'm not as good at animal communication, like with, if your dog, Floppy, you want me to talk to your dog Floppy, I'm not very good at that. I can do it, but I'm not practiced. That's not my specialty. But if you want me to talk to the consciousness of the species, that's usually what comes through. And it can be all dolphins. It can be bottlenose dolphins or spotted dolphins or spinner dolphins, or whichever want to come through. And once in a while, something will come through that I'm like, I've never experienced you before or heard of you. Like, I've had rainbow dolphins come in. I've had fairy dolphins come in. I've had, there you go. Yes. I love that. And I've had ghost whales come in.
Ooh.
That was kind of cool. And I've had one that came in that I've had a number of times, called the black guru dolphins.
I was on something you did recently when that
I did that on Sunday. They came in on Sunday.
And it was to me, it was almost like took my breath away. It was like, because there was a what in my head and a recognition in my chest.
Nice.
So very palpable. Yeah.
Yes,
Black guru dolphins.
Black guru dolphins. It's kind of a descriptor name from them, because they're shaped like bottlenose dolphins, but they're bigger than any dolphins, more like kind of like between a pilot whale and an orca whale, right? They're that big, but solid black, like ebony black. And they're called the guru dolphins because they're the gurus that all the other species of dolphins and whales go to for their spiritual advice.
I love it.
Be like us going to the Dalai Lama, right? And it's somebody that we really respect and honor for their spiritual teachings. they go there and they have this direct line. But here's the cool thing. They're a physical dolphin. They actually live in the ocean, but science has not discovered them yet.
Ah.
And that the dolphins, are in charge of when that happens.
Yes, that I believe. Because frequency being everything, if you think of like, the whatever they do in 3D now, the cloaking device and sci-fi, but that's possible. I mean,
yes,
actually, it was one of the first things we learned, and in one of my mystery schools, not first, but after you had the basics down, was we were doing, bilocation and those different things, levitation, and then being invisible. And it was so funny because we were practicing being invisible. So if you're speeding in your car, to be invisible to the police, and then someone had a car accident, and the mentor said, well, you have to be specific of who you want to be invisible to.
Yeah, not the other cars coming the other way.
Yeah, like, come on, like such a grumpy old Zen master. Like, it's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love it.
That's
well, who wants to talk to us? Or should we play with cards?
I don't know. Let's find out. All right. So play. So I'm gonna tune in.
I want to show you something. Look at this.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
And it's just a glass pyramid, but I was using it in class the other day because we were visually building. Isn't it like looking into another dimension?
Yes, totally.
Like that. And then let's see, how did I do it? Where it looked like, oh yeah, here.
Oh, now it's a diamond.
Yeah. And we were in the middle, and we were building the structure on the mental plane. And I picked this up and I started going, oh my God.
I love those colors. And I saw myself in there too. That was fun.
And you can go inside.
Now that would be a magical place to go in. All right. So let me tune in. Get some deep breaths. Giving the dolphins and whales permission to speak through me and share whatever is for our highest good to receive in this moment. So right away, I'm actually seeing it's an interesting visual that I have in my mind's eye, that they're white dolphins, and it's like they're not like belugas, but they have a rounded top of their head, the melon part, but they do have the rostrum. But it's almost like they're all kind of together, and it's like bubbles. It's like seeing the tops of all their heads together. Let's just find out what they are all about, what they want to share. They're calling themselves, even though they're white, they're calling themselves the shadow dolphins. And that what they do, the reason they call themselves the shadow dolphins is because they shadow each one of you that loves the dolphins, is called by them, that there is a white shadow dolphin directly behind you. And as I said that, I could actually feel that. And then you may be able to feel that as well, their presence right behind you. And it's almost like they literally like glue themselves with their body, their chest and stomach and heart right against your back. But most people are never aware that they are there, and that they are shadowing you as a guiding light. It's almost like they're shadowing, and that their head is then resting on your head, so that their rostrum is pointing forward, guiding you, but also shining that light forward. And in their light, it's also, that saying, when in a dark room, the minute you turn on a light, there's no darkness anymore. So that when this ghost dolphin is in this position, that the light it shines forward is such a bright, brilliant light that anything that wants to harm you can't exist in that plane, in that field of light. And that you almost have to invite them to stick onto your body and be in that position, but that they're hovering behind you. So feel free to invite them to guide you, move you forward. And that through this light, okay, they're sharing something really interesting. But with that light, I'll get to that in a second. With that light, they are guiding you and showing you the possibilities of life. It's like blocking out all the bad news so that you can stay focused on your life's purpose. And the interesting part was, in my mind, I just flashed to, is that why, like, all my life, people kind of call me a Pollyanna because I only look at the good side? Yeah, I'm always, somebody says something negative, I'm like, but no, the positive side, right? And they're like, yes, because they've always been connected to me. And so I see the world, and that's how they're inviting you to see the world through this column of light. It's almost like it starts out at a point and spreads out like a vortex out, getting larger as it goes away from you, so that it's to see the world as a world of hope, a world of positivity. And when we don't see the bad, we don't get hung up on it. We don't get stopped by it. When we don't see the fear, we don't feel the fear and the lack and the scarcity. So that now I'm getting emotional. These shadow dolphins are a huge gift to you, to humanity, to everyone who wants them. That they are very, very special, and I've never met them before. So thank you for asking the question to see who new wants to come in, and that just allow yourself to live in a positive world. And by you saying yes to working in partnership with these shadow dolphin that is assigned to you, that them shining their light and you stepping into their light as you move forward is also what heals this planet. It is also what raises the frequency and shines the light for others who may not see that light, but they see you staying positive amidst the chaos of the world, modeling joy, modeling positivity, and stirring hope in them, giving others permission to be positive and joyful. So welcome your shadow dolphin. Welcome this powerful partnership. Welcome their light and follow it. Follow wherever they are guiding you. And by doing this, we will all make the world a better place. Thank you, shadow dolphins. Wow, that was cool.
Oh, that was so cool. Oh my gosh, I could see and feel it right across my sacral in the back. Sort of like you were talking about when the fin was here, it was like spreading right there. And then it looked like, oh, it's downstairs. We have this puppet dolphin. It's about this big.
Yep.
You put your whole hand in it, so it's pretty long and it's gray. And it was like that. It was like it went up right from there and it came up and it got bigger and really big over my head, almost like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And maybe it was that big head you were talking about, and then it was stuck out, but it all looked like I was underwater. And when you shine light into water, you sort of see the speckles in the water, and then you kind of see, but there was nothing there, but it was like that. I started to hear like those things that say you just have to take the next step, right? You only need to see as far as the headlights shine, you know, to take the next step on the journey.
Yep.
And so it was, for me, it was like this beautiful, like, oh yes, good. And then don't do the, I need to see, what is it? Just trust that as you move forward, they light the way, and it's always right there, like you have a headlight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. So I'm hearing something like Elmer, Elmo. That's an interesting name. Elmer. Okay. Whatever you say. So, well, let's, I would like to ask a question of your cards.
Oh, yes. Let's pull those up. Yes.
So, well, first, let's ask if the shadow dolphins have a message through the cards. The ones that just talk to us, to see if they have another message, like, okay, you've got this with you, and I'm shining the light. And today, what's the message? We're in the Royal Star, I don't know how to say it, Fomalhaut gateway right now.
Okay.
It's a royal gateway, and it's the death phase of the death rebirth cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very high spiritual creative energy. So it's a beautiful time to like let die the things you don't serve you.
Right. Nice. All right. So I'm gonna tune in and just see where the shadow dolphins want me to go. They want me to go right there. Oh, interesting. So what we got is the sponge, which is filter. And this actually kind of fits with what they were talking about. Sponge tells us, take everything in, filter out what is valuable, and let all the rest flow back out again. So in terms of what they just shared with us, it's like, take everything in. You hear bad news, you hear the stuff going on in the world that's horrible, and then let it out. Keep what's good, keep what's positive, and let all the rest flow back out. You are muted.
I said, I love that. It's such a good idea, especially with the idea of the toxicity, toxicity in the body. We're seeing the result of that, but the mind and the vibrational field and all the other parts of it. So. And again, it goes back to frequency, right? To raising your frequency by absorbing that out.
Yeah.
So
nice. Do you want to ask a question for yourself?
Yeah. And then I was just asking over here on YouTube. Hi, Kim, and hi, Destine. And I can see some of you. So if you want to ask a question. Oh, goody. Yes, I do. Okay. So can you show the main side, like the name of the cards? There we go. Oh, you're showing all the cards there.
Yeah.
And it's called Spirits of the Sea. Is that right?
Wisdom from the Sea.
Wisdom from the Sea. There you go.
You can get them at wisdomfromtheseacards.com.
Ooh.
Make it super simple.
Okay. Wisdom from the Sea. Thank you. Well, I would like to ask a question about the energies that are releasing around my neck and my throat. It's like old karmic energies have been coming up, like strangling, holding back, saying no, and it's time for them to be over.
All right, so
I'm carrying that pattern.
I'm going to shift through these, and you just tell me when to stop.
The next one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to love this one.
Dolphins.
Hi, the white whale. Hope.
Oh my gosh, that was coming through so much.
White whale tells us, Keep envisioning a world filled with love, light, peace, and respect for all. You have done well.
Yay! Oh, goody, goody, goody. So I could stop strangling myself.
Exactly. Just let it out. Stay positive. You're doing well. And
I
I
like-
love that the white whales came through after we had the white dolphins come through.
Yeah, white whales. Wow. What's the difference in the frequency or the quality that they hold?
Holy, it's like that's kind of the best word, holy, is that they are, it's hard to describe. It's like the high priest kind of energy. It's like this,
Oh,
the
okay.
sacred
Yes.
of the sacred, just
Yeah.
like the white buffalo.
That's what I was
know,
thinking of.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
that
good.
same kind of energy that when they appear, it is a really positive sign for the
It's a
world.
very sacred message. Yeah. Oh, yay. I love that. I love that. Okay, so Kim Lewis would like a card, please.
Okay, great. So would you like to be the surrogate to pick the card
Okay.
for Kim?
I
And if it's
will.
towards the end, just go ahead and tell me. Stop.
That one.
Hey, Kim, you get sea turtle, which is step out of your comfort zone. Sea turtle tells us, step out of your comfort zone. It can be very uncomfortable, yet great creations and miracles can come from it. Nice.
Yeah.
Because you know,
Mhm.
gonna say the sea turtles, the only way their babies can survive is if the mother climbs out of the sea and holds herself out and becomes very, very vulnerable to dig this nest and lay her eggs. And then we have the miracles of baby turtles.
Yeah. And I've been living in my house for a year and a half, and we've had 2 nests of turtles born we're right on the ocean, and they climb right up up to the fence where there's a little bit of a fence now. And the first year we moved in July, and so we didn't know. And one night, very few weeks after we moved in, our neighbors were banging on the door and everything at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they hatched, and we had our lights on, so they came towards us. And instead of going towards the ocean, and they went into the neighbor's yard, and they went into their kitchen.
Oh no!
And so they were over here, and so we're around the yard with flashlights. There were no lights, with pots and pans, and they were under the palapa, and they fell into the ditch that we were digging for the pool. And it was but it was like amazing. Right.
Yes,
and then we got to go take them to the beach and let them go onto the beach. I felt blessed. I felt so blessed. This time I went out, and you can see the imprint of the mother's body when she's been there. And she threw all the sand through the fence, and it was piled up in front of my gate. And I came out and went, oh my gosh. And then I noticed to the side this little stick. And there's this committee of people for the turtles, and they saw her at night. And they moved it because she laid them right in front of our gate, right where we would exit. And so it was over here, and they had watched her, and then they scooped up the nest. I can't believe they do this. Put it over here, and then gave it a little number. But we didn't see them born, but we knew what we came out one morning. And went, okay, I think something happened. You can't really tell, but
and you can see their little track marks of them going. Whoop, whoop, whoop,
oh my gosh, it was just it's a blessing.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Destine, that's awesome. She said, wow, very, very cool. Terry, hey, okay, so Terry would like one. And let's see, useful steps to take with releasing the pattern that's holding me back the most.
Okay, so again, if you would be the surrogate. Number 5.
Go 5 more cards or something.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Oh, if we're getting really powerful ones. Celebration, the humpback whale. That powerful breach.
I know, it's amazing. They're so big and they can do that.
So humpback whale tells us, we ask you to take time to celebrate even the smallest accomplishments in your life. And you know how powerful that is when we go away, step away from what's not working to celebrating what is, that can move us forward instantly.
Yeah. And even better, what is and what it is that's coming.
Yes.
That it's already here.
Like, absolutely. Yes.
Celebrating
what has already happened, even though it hasn't.
Right? Even if you don't see it yet with your little old eyes. That's one of my favorite visualizations to use, of picturing an end result. You know, instead of like, how am I going to make this happen? Just picture the end result and then start living in it. Oh, I'm going to feel so fabulous going home from the retreat. You know, oh my gosh, what's going to feel like? And then how do I get there? How do I get there? But I see like, oh, you know, if I get this news, what would I do? Yeah. Right. And that's what I see. And I'm like, then I'll go to the bathroom and pretend that, you know, so.
Yep. Absolutely. Nice.
Celebrate. Wow. Thank you. She said, woo, 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 woo.
Hey, have fun celebrating.
Kim said, this is so great. I love animals. I find it hard to celebrate. I know. So I think this is very good advice, Terry. Terry's in one of my classes right now. And it's perfect. Just really perfect for her.
Yeah, just think of some little way. It's like, okay, a little celebrate could just be taking a break from work and going and having a nap, reading a book, taking a bath, or going out to dinner, treating yourself to a movie or a massage, or buying something you've been thinking about, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's do one for Destine.
Okay. Do we have a question?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. You want to be the surrogate?
Yeah.
Please.
From the bottom of the deck, six
One,
from the bottom.
3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. Pufferfish is about being prepared. So Justine, pufferfish tells us, keep your defenses down. Be prepared to show your strengths only when necessary.
Oh, very interesting. Defenses, you said, keep your defenses down.
Keep your defenses down. Like the pufferfish doesn't puff up until it absolutely has to. Most of the time, he's just doodling along and doesn't look all puffy like this, right?
Yeah. It's kind of it's kind of self-trust, isn't it? I don't have to go bullying and displaying my power because I know I have it if I need it.
Yep, it's there when you need it. Yep, absolutely.
Ooh. Okay, one more.
Okay,
one for my honey bunny, Chris.
All right, for Chris. So tell me when.
That one.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Sea lion, focus.
Focus.
Sea lion tells us being fully focused is a form of freedom. Freedom to perform at your absolute best.
Yeah, you know, you've been around them. I've been around them. They can go fast.
Yes, they zipping around. Yeah.
Gosh, can they go fast? And they get like a bullet, you know?
Yes.
And it doesn't whatever. That agility, and it does require fully being in the moment. Well, that's really good, you know, because he's still recovering from his seizure. And he does find more and more systems work, you know, having things familiar and the ability to focus on one thing even more than ever.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Well, anything else you want to share with us? This was so fun. Everybody's saying, this is so fun. This is so fun.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Just here's the thing, everybody, that what we're talking about, what Akasha and I have learned and received from the dolphins and whales, it's all accessible to you too. It's not just us. We're not super special in that. It's just be open, invite them in to your dreams, to your meditation, to show you signs like they did to me, and play with your shadow dolphin. bring your shadow dolphin in and let it shine that beautiful light to take you into a world of positivity. It's all accessible to you. So just trust and believe, and the magic, the dolphin and whale magic is there for you.
I love magic, 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 magic. Well, it's like there's so many comments about this was so fun. Thank you so much, beautiful ladies. A puffer, Kim said, I had one in my saltwater tank, and he was so fun to play with.
Well, there you go.
Play with a pufferfish. Very nice. That's so funny. I couldn't imagine playing with a pufferfish, but that's good.
Well,
wow.
they kind of, when they're not puffed up, they're kind of boxy and they kind of look like a little tugboat, just around. They're fun. They're pretty fun to watch.
Oh my goodness me. Wonderful. So tell everybody where they can find you again.
Yes. So the easiest way is whalewisdomretreats.com. And the cards are wisdomfromtheseacards.com. You can find those on my website. And I'd love to give everybody a free gift.
Well, I think everybody would like that.
Yeah, why not, right? So I have a guided meditation where I lead you to meet and get to know and start working with your dolphin spirit guide. Everybody who wants one has one. And you can find that at dolphinspiritguide.com.
Yeah, how did you get that? Wow.
I know, it just was there. I tried it and it was there. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put those links below here. If you're watching a replay, we'll have them in the email and everything you need to find Anne if you get on nanakasha.com. And well, thank you for coming to play. And thank you for everything you do. And I would love to go back to Bimini. I went there with my one of my mystery schools, and did you go to the road to Atlantis?
We do, yeah, at least, yeah, on each week we go there at least once.
Yeah, I loved it. That we did that, but we didn't actively go swim with wild dolphins like as an intent. We also went to that Fountain of Youth.
Oh, right. Yeah, I did that once.
Yeah, you like wander into the mangroves, and then you find this little warm well, and you kind of sit in there, and it was interesting.
It was, I would say that too, and it's really kind of a weird place to get in there, and it takes away from our dolphin time. So when we go, it's all about the dolphins.
Right. Wonderful. Well, thank you, sweetie. Lots of love.
Yes, thanks for having me
so much. Oh my gosh. So remember, everybody, to join me Sunday. That'll be the next fun thing that we'll do together. And then next week we're going to have Donna Kasowitz, and she's got some amazing research and some other really amazing stories. Again, like many people, being called from the dolphins into some form of your soul's purpose and path. So you might feel that way. You might feel like you just love them, but like I think Anne even said tonight, you might just see a picture and it lifts you up. And that idea that they came to Anne in a grieving moment. And I have a lot of those profound stories of books falling off shelves and stuff, while I was after my daughter died, or different moments when you're in those times. So come and raise your vibration on Sunday, I think, but we always go with what's happening in the moment, that we're going to be talking with the golden dolphins from Atlantis and some Lemurians. So the first time I've gotten some more research now, which is very interesting. There was an ancient civilization called Mu, M-U, and they came through on last Sunday in the first call. And, channeling the dolphins, and we're doing this spiral healing, and then these faces come out of this like underwater place, and they just turned into these huge faces with these interesting sort of round things on, and they started to talk, and they said Mu, M-U, and I said, oh, sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know. Even when I went to Google it, all I learned was it's a letter of the ancient or the Greek alphabet, and in ancient Egypt it meant water. And then somebody, one of you wonderful people, sent me an email and said, there's this book by somebody that's called The Ancient Civilization of Mu. And then I talked to another lady that's coming on, Dolphin, play with me. Donna Marie, if you've ever seen us together, the dolphins come in and we all just start channeling like a crazy bunch of people. And she started telling me too. She said, oh yeah, they're an ancient civilization. Well, they came through and said basically they were at the same place we are. We had lost connection with our true spiritual self and that higher part of who we were. And when they first came in, they remembered who they were, that they were the creators, that they were these spirit beings that existed on all these realms. And they loved to play in the physical, but then it became intoxicating. And they showed this whole scene where they became fully immersed in 3D and believing that this was all they were. And they said the dolphins were the one that kept coming back and coming back and coming back to help us raise our vibration until they became an ascended civilization, and they live in the 6th dimension as the creator beings, people who build like the architectural structures or something of the 3D, kind of go into the 6D. So who knows what's going to come through, and that's the fun part. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and give great thanks. We give thanks to this infinity healing chamber and the gold and silver light, the sacred cone above and below us. We give thanks to the all-seeing eye and to the flower of life, spherical consciousness. The dolphins have come several times over the weeks to fill out a sphere around us as if we were floating in the middle and to the sides, above and below, back and front, and in every direction. It's just like being in an enormous pod that shapes a sphere around us. And they're all different colors, and they're all different dimensions, and they're all from different places. And as the dolphins have told me, Kate, and many people, I'm sure you are a part of our pod now. And that means something. And we're energetically and connected through quantum physics forever. And in any place you can call, and this pod will be there all around you. And it's beautiful because it's like having a march in Washington with all these different colors, so, banners and all of these, but all moving as one. So you are a part of our pod. We're so happy Anne is a part of our pod. We give great thanks to these dolphins, to this incredible white shadow dolphin, and to the other dolphins that have been coming back up, reminding us in their own unique ways, helping us recalibrate and prepare for becoming more and more conscious, multidimensional citizens of a world where we are one, and yet we are individual. We give great thanks for this beautiful moment. May the circle be open, yet unbroken. And the joy and delight that we've experienced infuse into our cells, into our minds, come out with our breath, our words, our touch, and our steps. And that we may, every step and every breath, raise our vibration back into joy and spread joy instead of any of the old states that have followed. This is a moment of completion, and we accept. We reunite, and we are one in Lakech Alakin. I am another you. You are another me. We are one heart, one mind, one love. And so it is. Thank you. I want to go play now.
Beautiful.
I'm like, you're a few hours behind, so you've got time, but I'm like, I want to go play. It's dark outside. Oh, thank you, sweetie.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Stay warm.
I'm trying in this cold, wet, blustery Southern California weather. It's like Seattle down here.
Well, you can ask the dolphins to show you how to play in that wetness too. Here we've got so much humidity that we just swim through the day, but it's wonderful for my old skin, so I love it. Okay, thanks everybody over there. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're both amazing. Kim said, wonderful. Anne, thank you for the gift. Hi, Enza. Amazing. Oh, her pufferfish loved his belly rubbed and blew bubbles when he wanted to be fed. How cute is that? Yeah, so you, Kim, that's too adorable. No kidding. Terry, my high school biology teacher, gave him to me. Wow. He had big blue eyes and would just wiggle when I came to see him. He was a very fun fish. That's wild. Here's listening with my 7-year-old son, and he loved the show. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Enza. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing evening. Spread the joy and have dolphin dreams. So I'm just waiting for a second for the YouTube to catch up. It's such a lag before I stop that. There we go.